Today we are talking about creative direction. If you want your strategy to be well translated in your final designs, you need a clear bridge between the two. The truth is that it doesn't matter how good the research was or how strong your strategy is. If all that thinking doesn't show up in your final designs, all the effort was wasted. That's where creative directions comes in. I will show you the 2 steps I take to make sure my creative direction is strategic, consistent, and clear. Hi, I'm Paula, brand strategist and designer. Welcome to the second part of my brand design process. The first video was about research and strategy. We listened to real customers, found gaps in the market, and created the foundation for ONDA around 4 core insights. Now that you know what to communicate, you know your purpose, your mission, your values, what makes you different, it's time to figure out how to actually express them. Creative direction is the bridge between the strategy and the visuals. It's where you decide how your brand should look and feel before you start designing. From the research, we know that the biggest problem for people with textured hair is confusion. They don't understand their hair or the products they buy. The main feeling that ONDA has to create is trust. Once you have your feeling, it's time to translate it into a brand personality. And for that, I use a brand personality scale. I know some designers include it in the strategy phase, but I believe it belongs here, before the moodboard, because once you are clear on the personality, you know exactly what visual belong in the moodboard and what it doesn't. You can find some variations of it online. Any will do, as long as it gives you a clear idea about how your brand should behave, look, and feel. The one I use has a set of 12 dimensions, each one a spectrum between 2 opposites. Let's create ONDA's personality. ONDA sits firmly on the serious side, confident in what it says but not cold. Customers coming to this brand are already overwhelmed. They don't want something bold and fun. They need to feel like someone finally understands them. Then, moderately modern, not only because of the aesthetics or the trends, but because it needs to be relevant. It has to show that the problem it solves are happening right now. The care for the environment, for example. Friendly versus formal, ONDA sits in the middle. Approachable but not too friendly, supportive but still serious. ONDA is empathic while giving real solutions. Synthetic versus natural. You would expect me to go fully natural, right? This is how hair products or cosmetics in general like to promote themselves. But ONDA has a strong science behind it. The fear for clinical ingredients needs to stop. Let me share its product with strong ingredients. The fact that they are chemical, it's a plus in this context. So we sit in the middle, both natural, but also with clinical ingredients. Slightly premium, not luxurious because that will contradict the refill model that we established in the strategy, but elevated enough so people feel they're investing in something, not just buying hope. Innovative, clearly, the subscription model, refillable packaging, and hair type specific products. None of this is traditional. The brand needs to look like it creates something new. And now 3 that go together. Minimal, calm, and simple. Those 3 basically define the entire visual direction. Minimal because the goal is clarity, less words and visual noise, only important information that needs to be understood. Calm because the customers are already overwhelmed and this brand should feel like fresh air. Simple because we want people to understand us properly and easily. Refined, not fun. I don't mean cold, but ONDA has to be considered. Everything has a reason, and poor decorations are not part of this brand. That's actually how ONDA builds trust. Confident and serious about what it says and how it looks. Slightly cool, to keep that sense of clarity and precision, but still warm enough to feel human. When it comes to masculine and feminine, slightly feminine because of the symbolic traits, not gender targeting. Masculine brands are usually sharp, strong, structured, and dark tones, while feminine ones are soft, fluid, elegant. Okay, now that you have your brand personality, it's time to create a moodboard. At this point, we don't create anything new. A moodboard usually covers logo, typography, photography, and any other graphic elements that your brand might need. All of that was created by other designers. We are not making anything original. You know how they say that you are the result of people surrounding you? The same can be said about your inspiration process. If you look for inspiration only on Pinterest, your brand will end up looking like another Pinterest brand. Nothing wrong with that, I also use Pinterest. But you also need to check brands that work in the real life, those who survive on the supermarket shelves, for example. Not only brands that look great on the screen, but you can be sure if they would work or not in real life. I recommend you look in many places, branding agencies, graphic design magazines, even on Google. I will create ONDA's moodboard and I will explain you every element once it's done. ONDA logo should be a word mark, clean, sans serif. I'm not sure yet it should be uppercase or lowercase, but we'll see that in the next video. No symbol, no icon. Just the name, confident enough to stand on its own. I'm looking for logos that carry the same feeling, grounding, minimal, trustworthy. I'm looking at some pharmaceutical brands, a few premium wellness brands, a serif font for heading and a sans serif one for the body. The serif carries authority and it says, I know what I'm talking about. It has the same energy as a well-designed science publication. The sans serif keeps it accessible and easy to read. Color, mostly blues, because blue builds trust and trust is the feeling we are going for. But we need some specific blues. Navy, it's seen as authority. Dusty, slightly desaturated blue reads at calm and clinical. And here's how we want ONDA to look. In photography, ONDA must show real people and real textures. Bad day hair and people who just starting their curly journey. Authenticity is how these brands build trust. Packaging. Because ONDA is subscription based, the unboxing is a touch point. I'm thinking a delivery box. Clean, considered, easy to read. Some wavy patterns would work great. Before you finalize a mood board, do one last check. Take a step back and ask yourself, does this feel like it comes from the same story? Do all elements speak the same language? Does everything belong here? Or you are just collecting pretty images but from different universes? Now we have our creative direction. We know the feeling, the personality, and the visual language that carries all of it. The only thing left is to bring ONDA to life. Come back for the last videos of this series. Everything we've built so far will be finally made visible.